Hello everyone and welcome to Training in My Life, podcast 83, Winter Zest. Zest as in the joy for life, and that thing that's difficult to find in the dark, rainy, cold winter days. But even so, there's some to be had if you look closely enough. At the moment we've had some winter sun. In fact, the temperature today was up to 11 degrees and felt a lot more like spring than it did winter. There was a squirrel bobbing in and out of the garden, the birds were tweeting, and it just seemed a lot more cheerful and spring-like. But next week I know we'll get some rain and the temperatures will drop, and again we'll have day after day when you're wrapped up in lots of layers, scurrying off to work and hurrying home afterwards to keep nice and warm and dry. But there's the thing, you then start to appreciate all the warmth and coziness of your home. You might light some candles. You might have a cosy mug of hot chocolate with some floating marshmallows. You might just appreciate being inside and looking out at the rain on the weekend and thinking, well, at least I've got a couple of days when I don't have to go out in that. And because the weather's colder, you'll be wrapping up in scarves and gloves and hats and big coats. And with the sales going on, you have your choice of those items. You might have a woolly hat with a pom-pom on top. You might have one of these furry hats with ears on top. There's so many different types. You might have a stripy scarf. You might have a knitted one that you got from one of your relatives at Christmas. And every time you put it on, you think of that relative and you smile. The thing is, although we're not so lightweight when we're walking around in all these layers, at least we're lucky enough to be able to wrap ourselves up against the cold. And everyone is very individual. And as you sit on a train or a bus, you look round you and you can see a lot of different clothing. At this time of year when I commute, I see a lot of black coats, but those same people might have brightly coloured hats or gloves. But there are other things about winter that are positive too. The time you can spend cooking those meals that fill the house with delicious smells that are making you hungry and can't wait to eat things. You might be doing roast dinners on a Sunday. You might be cooking up soups, making fresh bread. And even just to have a warm meal when you've come in from the cold. It doesn't matter what it is, even if you bung something in the microwave, that can still feel warm and comforting and very positive. The other thing that some people do in January is they book their summer holiday because there are all the sales on through travel companies, flights and hotels, and they can get a really good bargain if they look for it now and can pay out the money for it. Of course, January tends to be that budgety month where it's difficult to find extra money because of Christmas and all the expense of Christmas, and you're sort of waiting for payday. It's not really longer than any other month, but quite often in December you get paid early, and because of that it just seems a really long time till you get paid again. So some people are trying to stick to a budget, trying to diet their way into a little bit of weight loss, might be trying to do some exercise. I'm always in awe of the joggers that I see on my way to work, that some of them are still in like shorts with bare legs, and the temperatures have been in the minuses, but it doesn't seem to deter them. So the people who have booked their summer holiday already have now marked it on their calendar or put it into their calendar on their phone, and they have that to look forward to. They can look sort of 6 months ahead and saying, oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and it may be rainy and snowy here, but I'm going to be lazing on a beach in the sunshine or exploring some jungle and whitewater rafting, or all these different possibles that people might have booked for their holidays. Meanwhile, on a smaller scale, quite a lot of us are planning different things for later in the year. because I said the weather has seemed very spring-like this weekend here, I've been looking out in the back garden and thinking what I can do, what I can plan to do when it's a good time for planting. We're in a house that we only moved into last August, and it's temporary. It's only a year, so I don't want to invest too much in the garden, but at the same time there aren't a lot of flowers in it, and I do like to see flowers in the summertime. That's always nice. So I try and pick up bargains, and even your garden centres have got sales on at the moment, so it's worth taking a look. There was this squirrel today in the back garden, and it was like he couldn't remember where he'd hidden a nut or whatever squirrels bury these days. And he kept jumping and bounding and snuffling in the grass and coming up and then going somewhere else and then going somewhere else. And it was like, maybe squirrels have really bad memories. I don't know. I mean, it didn't seem to be focusing in one part of the garden. And it's not like a bird. A bird will be sort of pattering its feet to attract worms to the surface. And worms are in all parts of the garden. But presumably, if a squirrel has buried a nut somewhere, it will be just where he buried it. But yeah, and then I was looking at his head and thinking, well, he's only got a small head, and maybe it's a small brain, and maybe it doesn't retain that much information. He definitely is very wary, I noticed. He pops up and down and actually just stands on his back legs, just looking as if he's expecting a predator. And I've never seen cats in our garden. I've not seen very many birds in our garden either, but he was clearly wary of that. And he doesn't live near our garden. He lives in trees out the back and over in someone else's garden. So perhaps it's the fact that he has quite a way to go to get back to his home that he tends to be wary like that. Perhaps in this January, you're thinking of being more confident, a new you for the new year. You might want to be more passionate about the things that you care about. So going for it. And that might be that you're in the gym and pumping iron and deciding that this is the year that you become really fit and you're going to run a marathon and stuff like that. Or it might be just that you want to be more confident, that you feel like you're overlooked, you don't speak up. And it might be that you want to try and be more confident in your life. These are all things that make January very positive when people are thinking about changes that they want to make. And maybe because it's a month which is often rainy, cold, snowy, you have the opportunity and the time, because you're at home more, to focus on these things. I'm going to insert a clip that I took of me the first time it snowed this winter where I live, and I was unreasonably excited about it, and which you'll see from the clip. And it's true that I feel like that about snow because we don't guaranteed get it every year, and it is usually every year in part of London, but I'm in the south of London, sometimes only bits of the north of London get it. So, I don't get it every year and still find it exciting. I think it depends if you've grown up with snow and had snow every year as a child growing up. So it was just like, oh, it's winter, there'll be snow. And you don't think about it. But I grew up in the very southwest of England, and we didn't get snow for about 10 years. So... So yeah, I still can't get over the excitement when it happens, and it doesn't matter if it's like half a centimetre, it's still exciting for me.
I am ridiculously excited about the fact that it snowed overnight. Yay!
But it's nice to get that excitement in your life in these wintry months, trying to find something that excites you. And it may even be that you're reading the latest bestseller and it's really enthralling you, you're really into it. You might be watching something new, a new series on your computer or on the television, and you might be really into it and think these actors are great, the story's really involving me, I can't wait for the next episode. And you're excited about that, and you're going to work the next day and you're talking with colleagues about it. Oh, they're watching it as well. And finding something to be excited about, something to enjoy in your life is always good at this time of the year. Sometimes being stuck at home because of bad weather on a weekend is really useful, because you get to do things like organising things that you've not been able to before because you didn't have the time. But the whole decluttering thing allows people to pass on things that they no longer want, or give away Christmas gifts that they don't want, and that's a happy thing because you're helping other people. You're giving things to people that will use them and be glad of them. And then you've created space in which to put the extra things you had for Christmas. I think when you're out in the bad weather, it's as easy to smile as to be grumpy. It's one of those things, wherever you're headed, be happy about the fact that you'll be warm and dry soon, whether it's into work or coming back home. I mean, it's one advantage to heading to work. You might not normally like to go to work, but at least when you get there, you're going to be warm and dry. So you've got a positive that way. But yeah, in all the weeks where you can have long spells where it's almost like the same weather every single day, you get up and it's still cold, you get up, it's still rainy, and it's like you look out the window at work and it's just grey and rainy all day long. But at least you are safe and warm and dry while you're there. So you have to look at the positives in it. And maybe these times are going to help you start a new hobby. You might be in the garage tinkering around with an engine. You might be gluing bits of wood together to make some shelves. You might be playing with the kids more because you've got more time to do that. You might be planning redecorating your house in the spring. A lot of people do that because quite often they're going to put houses on the market and they need to spruce it up a bit. So they'll be planning. They might have some paint charts that they're looking at and seeing what shade of cream or grey or blue or whatever that they want to use. And it's a great planning month, January, where you can plan lots of things to do in your life. Well, I hope you're finding some zest in winter, some joy for wintry life. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and come back next time. Bye for now.